I got a bit of a deja vu feeling from this, from last time I fixed up a C25, if you remember that. And while welding is not really an option at the moment, I could go ahead and start cutting stuff out and making new panels and just wait for it to dry up. I just took the door off the C25 to fix the rust down there, and we have had no rains for the last week, and then almost instantly when the door was off, which was a bit of a struggle, this happened. Luckily I have this, what's that called, thingy, so I can keep the rain off the inside at least. But what I want to do in this video is to fix the rust up down there. I'm just going to jump into the dry area right there that needs to be fixed. I'm going to take you along this journey of fixing this part of it. The first thing I want to do is to clean it up and find out where the rust stops, so we can go from there. And then it's time for my favorite tool when it comes to rust work at the moment, the Skill 3650. You can really work these things really hard because of the coolant technology on the battery, so it will never overheat the battery, or at least it's very difficult to do that. But I'm going to cut away at the rotten stuff until I get to clean, good metal that I have found down here. In my experience, the most important bit when doing stuff like this is to take your time at this stage of the work to make sure that you've gotten all the rot out and know how it's built up, because I would like to reconstruct everything. So I would like to firstly make the inner panel, then the strip from this one that goes down and is spot welded to the back panel, and then the last bit of inner panel over here. I will most likely make this first, then this, and then this. But firstly I need to make sure that I don't have to cut more away after I started welding, because that is always difficult, and you will very often end up doing it anyway. But taking your time is definitely the best advice that I can give. And don't do it in the rain is another advice I would give that I'm not following myself. Yeah, I was just about to miss the rust issues up here by trying to weld it down here. It just goes to show how important it is to check it all over, but I will have to make a small patch up here. Maybe it's a bit overkill in this project, but I just want to do it right for once. And save the pieces you cut out, because they are great help when you're making templates. So next time I'm going to cut this area free and then reconstruct that. Okay, so after a bit of cutting and cleaning, this is where we're at now. And what I would like to do now is to make a patch that goes along here and down here and out there and catches this one. So this will be the first patch that I will make. So I'm getting ready to make this into metal. I got this angle iron thin gauge. I think that will help me out a little bit. I'm actually gonna cut a little bit more than the line, or attempt to, because I want the thickness of the wire that I'm welding with to be the gap between this panel and the car. Whoops, did you survive down there? Okay, this camera will be killed one day. I highly suggest that you guys go and become a Patreon so I can buy a new camera when this one dies, because it will be soon. And then it's back to the old GoPro of grainy stuff. Anyway, let's go and continue. There we go. And then I'm gonna paint the backside before I weld it in, because it's difficult to paint the backside otherwise. It's actually a pain in the backside. I just altered the shape a little bit. Actually, I cut off in the wrong area, so I'll have some welding up to do. Let's paint it a bit. So I didn't do a very great job at the shaping of this, so I have a lot of welding to do now, because if it was a better fit, it would be better, of course, but I'm just gonna have to get stuck in and weld this piece in and fill out the gaps. Maybe not the cleanest of welding, but it is sure in there, and you can work wonders with the grinder, so I'm just gonna do that. I think it's pretty decent actually. The next thing I want to do is actually cut away more material, because there is a rust hole in there that I was thinking about making from the inside. Also some there that needs to be fixed. Watching it now, I think it makes more sense to cut it up like this and then down, and then open up this area, fix the inner panel, and then weld this together with the new repair panel afterwards. Because it is difficult to lie on the ground upside down with your welder on your torso, and yeah, it's just way nicer to sit out here, and I cannot get this on the lift, in case you were wondering. So I'm gonna cut this up like this and down, and then open it up a bit more. That I think is the best thing to do. But I'm just going to fix the bottom end right here, or the back inner panel, and then start reconstructing. So this is where we are at now. I have welded in a piece of metal on the inner panel, and now I need to make a repair panel for this area. And it could be really cool to make it in one piece, except this up here, of course, but in one piece all the way. It is, to be honest, maybe beyond my skill level, but I'm gonna give it an attempt anyway. If I had a repair panel, it would be okay to make the template and cut it from that. But now what I'm going to do is to try to make this and the curvature down here and the ledge down there in one big piece, and then hopefully make a template out of cardboard that fits this hole and then transfer that to the repair panel I have just made, that I'm going to make, and hopefully it will fit pretty good. This is my template. I cut this out from the car, and what I'm going to do now is to make the first bend right here, and then hopefully make the curvature, and then all the way at the top where I cut it, it actually bends a little bit inwards again. So I need to make it a bit bigger than this, but this will be my template. And firstly, I will make the lower bend. And this is the piece of metal. No, it's not completely square, but it doesn't really matter. But this is what I'm going to use to make it, hopefully, into a usable repair panel. Let's make the first bend. I am not going to make this bend right now because that can just be folded around the inner panel when I get that far. Like this. So next up I'm going to attempt to make that bend, compound bend right there. And I'm going to just attempt to bend it over this rail using freehand. I need some gloves for this, otherwise I will cut myself. The edges on sheet metal like this is pretty sharp. Actually, the bender can also help sometimes, just by fitting it loosely in there. So now we have this shape. And it needs to go more upwards. Okay, so while it is not perfect, it will be pliable when I put it on. I got some reference points because it needs to be welded together with the rest of the panel, the old panel, and the wheel arch lip. So that will define the shape in the end. But I need to make that last bend up here, and it is right there. So what I'm going to do is, I could take the pen and put it right here, but because of the thickness of the metal, I need to be a bit higher. So I think this will be pretty much where I want the bend to be. And this is just a little bit of a bend like that. I think this would be good enough to use on the car. Let's just try to see how it fits. Yeah, I'm satisfied with this. It's going to be fine. So now I want to I'm going to paint the inside first because I will forget it otherwise. And then I need to make a template. So let's see how this fits. Now I do not mind that it goes too far up here because I can cut that into shape afterwards, but I need it to follow these lines at least. This is pretty decent. So I'm gonna transfer this to the repair panel. After a bit of fiddling, this is where we are at with the panel. It's very dark. I hope you can see something, but it seems to fit all right. So I think I'm gonna start tacking it in and forming it into place. I'm really gonna have my work cut out right here because I don't think welding is that difficult, but when you have a gap like this, it's getting pretty difficult. But I'm gonna go ahead and weld this up and hopefully it will be all right. The patch is in. There's a lot of cleanup to do, and the shape wasn't perfect, so it is yeah, it got a bit of a dent there because I had to hit it quite hard with a hammer. If it was a sports car or something very valuable, it wouldn't be good enough. But there is a dent down there as well, so it fits the rest of the car. And with a bit of filler, you know. So next up, I'm going to weld this one in, and I'm going to bring you on that journey. I already made the patch, but I'm waiting for the paint to dry. After that, I'm going to clean up the welds and give it a quick lick of paint and then jump to bed. The absolute best advice that I can give when doing stuff like this is don't be in a hurry. And I'm always ending up doing this in a bit of a hurry. I'm not in a hurry because I'm going to use the car right now, but I'm in a hurry because it's the middle of the night. I don't think the weather is going to be very good tomorrow. And having no door on a camper van that you actually like is the inside of this is the golden thing about this camper. I don't want it to be standing out here without a door for cats and rain and all that to get in here. So I really like to finish up this stuff. So I'm going to weld that up, clean it up, put some paint on it, and wrap this video up in a hurry. Wow, this stuff is thin. It's going to be horrible welds. This stuff was terrible thin in this area, so it's not pretty. But I'm gonna clean this up the best I can, and then the rest of it will just have to be done with filler. So it won't win any beauty contest. I have been at this at 3, maybe 4 hours now. It is now completely solid, and it will look just fine when I give it some filler and paint. But the most important bit is the rust is gone, both on the inside inner panel and the outer panel and all the other stuff. And that means I can get the door back on the camper and go to bed. So I have a lot of cleaning up to do. Some paint to add to this, a door to fit to the camper, and then I'm off to bed. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.